Hello everybody, my name is Waverly. I'm going to be presenting my presentation on oral health and Alzheimer's. What is Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's is a type of dementia that affects with everyday life. And what are some symptoms of Alzheimer's? Well, we have memory loss, planning or problem solving, difficulty performing familiar tasks, confusion with time or place, trouble understanding images, having trouble with words and speaking or writing, misplacing things and unable to retrace steps, decreased and poor judgment, withdrawal from work or social activities, and I think the most evident one is changes in the mood and personality. So what population is affected? So we see here on the left-hand side, 14% of African Americans are affected and 12% of Hispanics are affected, while 10% of non-Hispanic whites are affected. And here on the right-hand side, this is the projection from the CDC. Oh, both are from the CDC website. By 2060, they hypothesize that 14 million people will be affected by Alzheimer's by 2060. So what causes Alzheimer's? According to the Alzheimer's Association, scientists have found two structures that may be a cause to Alzheimer, which is tangles and plaques. Tangles are twisted fibers of protein that build up in the cell called tissue. So let's remember that, along with the plaque, which are a bit of protein fragments between the space and the cells called beta alamide. Sorry if I mispronounced these protein names. The scientists are still working on trying to figure out what really plays a role in Alzheimer's disease, but they do believe that it's a communication block between the nerve cells. So what does this have to do with oral health? Well, one can hypothesize that since the mouth is close to the brain, can pathogens within the mouth interfere with the brain, since they're closely like neighbors? So there were some studies, but first, before we get to the studies, we want to know what periodontitis is. So peri meaning around, dont meaning teeth, and itis meaning inflammation, is basically infection and or inflation of gums and bones to the surrounding support of the teeth. And some of the early stages of periodontitis is gingivitis, and I'm sure we've all heard that from going to the dentist every now and then. You know, that's why they tell you to brush your teeth on a regular basis and floss. And this is also another statistic that periodontal disease increases with age. 70.1% of adults 65 and older have periodontal disease. So what causes periodontitis? So there is a bacteria called, and I'm going to mispronounce this too, Porphyromonas gingivalis. It is a pathogen found in the mouth, and it does initiate a response within an individual. Okay. So in study 1, there in Taiwan, they did find a strong link between chronic and periodontal disease and Alzheimer's disease. So what this study basically found was circulating antibodies to 2 oral bacteria, which were linked to cognitive deficit 10 years later. So let's think about how the human body works. So we get a foreign particle in our body. So our body makes antibodies to help protect us in the long run, and fight against that in the future. So it's kind of what's going on here is they found that certain antibody that's linked to that the P. gingivitis bacteria. In study 2, we do see that there was 3 rats. 1 rat was in a control group. 2 of the rats were either 1 rat was a control group, while the other 2 rats were introduced to P. gingivitis, whether the bacteria was encapsulated or just mutated. And what they found was that there was an increase of beta amyloid and tau fully saturated in the hippocampus. So let's think about what we talked about earlier, that according to the Alzheimer's Association, these 2 proteins are somewhat linked, or they're believed to be linked to Alzheimer's. So what this is basically saying is that this caused a inflammation response inside the brain. So the bacteria in the mouth caused an inflammation, or this response in the body, in the brain. So it's kind of like a domino effect. What are risk factors for periodontitis and Alzheimer's? Well, we have aging, diet, genetics, inflammatory signaling, socioeconomic status, and low education, and exercise. Why are these important? Well, it's important to know this so that we understand how the brain is being affected and what is being affected in the brain. Once we can find out what's being affected, then possible treatment can be used for prevention, or even maybe help eradicate Alzheimer's. I mean, it could be possible. It also gives people the ability to do tasks and to be independent. Possible ways to prevent and decline Alzheimer's. So we want to do oral care, since this may be a possible link to Alzheimer's. So brushing twice a day, flossing daily, just to help prevent against that. We want to beat that statistics where 70.1% of people 65 and older get this periodontist disease. And lastly, not least, but ambulatory assistance, because not everybody has the same physical abilities. So on the left hand side, we have modified toothbrushes, though. So people who do have disabilities or any trouble with their tactile skills, did I say that right? Fine motor skills, that they're able to brush their teeth on their own independently and able to care for their teeth. So here you see how these toothbrushes are modified. I mean, if not, then they would need assistance, as you see on the very top, with brushing their teeth. And that is it for my presentation. Thank you for watching.